how lucky they are. Because the settlers also bring bees with them for their honey. The Native American bee pollinates only a few species, but European honeybees can live almost everywhere and pollinate any plant in sight. Gardens turn into plantations for consumption at home and abroad. Apples thrive and become a major industry in North America, eventually yielding a harvest of 5 million tons a year, all beginning with European seedlings. This is biological imperialism in full swing. Europe's fruits and vegetables conquer the New World. But it is also an exchange. It is the Columbian exchange. European kitchens may not see native meat from America, bison or llama, but New World vegetables make a big impact. The plant with the greatest impact on Europe needs a couple of centuries to take root in its culture. This tuber is insipid and mealy. It cannot be classed among the agreeable foodstuffs, but it furnishes abundant and rather wholesome nutrition to men who are content to be nourished. It is justly regarded as flatulent, but what are winds to the vigorous organs of peasants and laborers? Wrote Diderot in his encyclopedia in the 18th century. Introduced into Spain, potatoes slowly spread to Italy and to northern and eastern Europe. By 1600, the potato has entered Austria, Holland, France, Switzerland, England, and Germany. Frederick the Great himself urges its cultivation in Prussia. But it is the Irish who adopt the potato with open arms. They have a limited food supply, and grain grown here has often been destroyed or burned as the result of war. But the potato, safely underground, survives these hardships. In 100 years, the Irish population more than doubles. And towns like Berlin grow into great cities. By 1700, there is an unprecedented population explosion in Europe, thanks to a plant from the faraway Andes. Only one domestic animal from the New World sets foot in Europe: the turkey. Turkey and a few vegetables enhance the European diet, but otherwise their life is relatively unchanged.
So Why was the Columbian Exchange so one-sided? Why did it go primarily in one direction from Europe to America? With the exception of things like potatoes and potato blight, why was Europe not overtaken by American plants and animals? It's difficult to say why something did not happen, but you have to remember that the ecological invasion was a cooperative enterprise, disease and plants and animals working together. And Europe remained densely populated. It didn't have diseases depopulate its people. And so you didn't have niches open up for livestock to graze and then weeds to take over the areas that livestock had overgrazed and trampled. So without that critical part, it worked in one direction primarily.
The European elite want more than just turkeys and potatoes from the New World. They want luxury products. Sugar and tobacco meet the requirements of the upper class. The first British settlers quickly acquire a taste for American tobacco and export large shipments to Europe. To satisfy such high demand, settlers build immense plantations. Growing sugar becomes a business on the same scale as tobacco. The new monocultures cover entire landscapes. For this sole purpose, some 10 million Africans are transported to America, enslaved to cultivate luxury items for Americans and Europeans.
Because of the rapid depopulation of the Americas owing to disease, Europeans faced a shortage of labor in their effort to exploit the resources of the New World, particularly to exploit the soil. So the Europeans, first the Portuguese and then the Dutch and then eventually the English, imported slaves from West Africa to cultivate sugar in the Caribbean and Brazil, tobacco in Virginia, rice in South Carolina, and by the 19th century in mainland North America, cotton. It's no exaggeration to say that these cash commodities produced by slave labor were essential to the export economies of the Americas.
By the 18th century, the metamorphosis of much of America is complete. New Spain and New England are fully established. Nature has been transformed and is in the hands of man. Now pioneers are heading west. There is still empty land in that direction. They will complete what was begun in the East. In the creation of the New World, perhaps 90% of the Native American people died. The people who took their place came from all over Europe as conquistadors, settlers, explorers, and colonists. And they came from Africa as slaves. But it was the transfer of animals and plants from Europe to the Americas that really made the creation of the New World possible. In today's chrome and steel cities, we sometimes seem so cut off from nature that it may be difficult to believe the Columbian Exchange ever happened. But in the final analysis, the skyscrapers and the melting pot of the races owe their existence not only to humans, but also to the natural world.
People came to the Americas for many reasons. Some came to make money, some came for religious freedom, some came involuntarily as slaves. But those populations took hold in the Americas because of the accident of ecology, because of the microbes, the plants, the animals that they brought with them that gave them an advantage over the people who were already here. And the legacy of the Columbian Exchange is also still largely biological. And that legacy will continue into the future.
It all began 500 years ago. Columbus had a vision, and 3 ships set out in a quest for India and found the New World.